Hello and welcome back, everyone, as we prepare for Game 2 of the day here between 100 Thieves Academy and Golden Guardians Academy. We're already seeing 100 Thieves back to the same old tricks, crumbs, and looking better than ever at them. Their composition is pretty standard for what we've come to expect from them in the summer, but their performance in individual lanes, specifically the bot lane, was definitely impressive.
Yeah, Luger had a significant lead. I think it got to 60 CS at one point before the turrets ended up breaking on his Kalista against the Ezreal. It was a strong point for 100 Thieves to fight through after they had lost the 2v2 in the top lane. So 100 Thieves found an avenue to just insert the Sins out and the Lulu and just run over the game. The bot lane did find some dives on their own that did start that snowball from going, but then Kenvi and Ryoma just sealed the deal. They just started running over the map. It looked like they were just farming extra camps with how easily they're rotating from camp to champions and how difficult it was for Golden Guardians to fight back. We don't have to tell you any more about how it was. You can see it for yourself. So
exactly. Let's take a look at some of the replays from the game here, Crumbs, because there's a lot of important things that happened. It started off with Golden Guardians getting the lead with the double kill onto Rosethorn. I thought that would be good news, right? Because then they can carry that elsewhere, but I mean, at least 100 Thieves, I think Ryoma getting this kill was really impactful in making sure that the play didn't run too far away from 100 Thieves. And then I'm pretty sure most of the replays that we'll see after this initial one will be 100 Thieves favored.
This is the one that really started to snowball everything because Golden Guardians had just made a play. They didn't have all their ultimates. Leona had just burned her flash, the ultimate, to make a play on the bot side. So having nothing available to them, they still opted into a fight without being in proper position for it. That 100 Thieves just completely demolished them for it. Those 3 kills, staggered as well, hurt Golden Guardians so much.
And then it just didn't get better, right? I mean, this was probably the closest one. This was towards the end of the game here already. But watch Prismal on the Ezreal. He's able to get a lot of damage out during this fight. But we already, before this fight broke out, talked about the gold difference between these teams. 100 Thieves were just so far ahead.
Gold and the dragons, too, at the top of your screen. You can see the Ocean Soul ticking away on the 100 Thieves members. So yeah, it was maybe a little bit better had they not had that objective, but I still think 100 Thieves would have walked away and ended the game from that fight. They were just so much stronger right now that I feel like for this next game, you just gotta ban the Golden Guardians. I don't care about your pride. Clearly, the teams in Academy are not able to beat this just yet. You gotta figure out a way to beat it in the scrims before you bust it out here, because no one else has even come close to defeating it on Academy.
And by it, I believe we mean that karma, correct? Because that's the primary, one that we're looking at here for the reason why 100 Thieves were able to win out that draft and win out that game. Golden Guardians, their response was to try and answer it in a similar style, right? They got the Lulu, they got the Volibear, which presumably, if you can link up Lulu Volibear, I think there's an argument that can beat the Karmas in Zhao. That was my best guess for what they were trying to do with that draft. But again, just performance in the game, it didn't pull out that way. So I want to see a different look from Golden Guardians here. Banning the Karma, step number 1. But step number 2 is I actually want them to be a little more proactive. Now, Golden Guardians is a team that they've kind of struggled to define how they want to play. They've gotten a lot of experience playing in Challengers Uprising, one of the Tier 2 Proving Ground circuit tournaments leading into Proving Grounds. So they had a little chance to get some practice under their belt before Academy season, but already a slow start. They really need to start solidifying what their play style is, and to me, that's a more aggressive, early game focused style.
And it's so easy to solidify your playstyle and get better at team cohesion when you can just run through the reps of a similar composition over and over again. So I think, again, they can just take what 100 Thieves has been doing that's been working for them. There's no shame in that. It's pretty easy to execute. You understand the strength of it. You can pull it off as well. So on blue side, maybe they can first pick a Karma, deny it, not have to ban it themselves.
That's
if Yundi's already comfortable, if he's okay playing the Lulu, I mean, Karma is really not that hard, guys. It's it just shield your Xin, make sure he can get into the fight, tell him when to back off, that you can have a shield back up in a few seconds, and just watch your jungler do the work.
Yeah, it just comes down to, does Rosethorn play the Xin Zhao? Because this is a champion that was recently reworked, a little bit of his kit was changed, and yeah, with the jungle changes that hit on this patch that we're currently live on, catch-up experience is back. You know, these heavy ganking junglers were kind of where we expected to see the meta start to shift towards, so Xin Zhao was rumbling of like, yeah, he might be back in the meta, but I don't know if everybody really practiced him or put enough work on him. Well, we'll wait and see, because Golden Guardians, of course, they could break that out themselves. They did get their first win yesterday against Evil Geniuses, piloting the Karma composition, but it actually was the Karma with the Volibear, and they still had the Gangplank, so it was a little more similar to what they played here against 100 Thieves. I think the big difference was, again, that bot lane. Luger just absolutely decimating Prismal in lane and really shutting down the Ezreal, what Prismal was trying to do. I think that was probably the biggest impactful side of the map for 100 Thieves.
Because it generated pressure on its own. There wasn't much need for Kenvi to be down there to help these guys get to such a lead. And just by following the other jungler, just by Kenvi being aware of where Rosethorn was at, Luger and Poom were able to dive. Were able to get a 1v2 kill, right? They took down the Ezreal, who was just getting consistently harassed simply by knowing that Rosethorn wasn't going to be there to help them out. So if you can put Luger on a matchup that will actually allow him to get a big lead against Prismal, again, you can forego those early kills in the early game and have a place that you can count on to be the place to execute more and more dives.
And again, I just want to preface this all by saying this is a pretty one-sided matchup. This is 100 Thieves Academy looking like one of, if not the strongest Academy roster that we have right now in summer of 2021 against Golden Guardians, who are struggling with their start. This is as of the game that just happened, a 6-1 team versus a 1-6 team, right? So we expect to see a certain level of disparity between the performance in game, which to me says it'll come down a lot to the draft. So we already have banned Karma. What else do you think Golden Guardians on the blue side now can start to prioritize? Because they get that first prio pick, that opens up a lot right there, but also anything else in the ban department that you think is worth mentioning, now's the time that we should set those expectations.
I think the Ezreal, you don't have to ban it, but you can just not pick it that early. It really must have hurt them to take it so early with the confidence that they did in giving away the Karma for the Lulu and the Ezreal, and then Lulu didn't do much, and then the Ezreal just got bodied in the laning phase. So I think a shift in priorities with that will really help, and just making sure that you get a better matchup in the bot lane. You can just build your jungle pick so much sooner and ensure that you can counter the AD, that you can counter the support. On red side, 400 Thieves, they'll have that option if they opt into it. But for the most part, just making sure that you don't have a matchup that is going to fall that far behind is all you need.
I'm trying to do like a little guessing work, right? Because we saw the Karma locked in, blue one for 100 Thieves, and the answer was Lulu Ezreal. Now, to me, that said, they didn't want to deal with the Ezreal Karma because we've seen how strong that can be. LCS teams are playing that right now. The amount of poke, the amount of kite back, and just safety that those two offer is a little difficult to deal with. I just don't like the answer with the Lulu, right? Because the Lulu does not do the same things as the Karma. It doesn't have the same lane control and push potential. It doesn't have the same level of poke and burst damage. It's got more survivability, but you don't need that necessarily with the Ezreal. So that's just, again, I feel like Golden Guardians are playing themselves a little bit too much. I want them to play more standard for what they're comfortable with. I'll see what they do just that. Draft is ready, so let's hop right into it right now, Crumbs, and have all of our questions answered. Golden Guardians on the blue side, 100 Thieves Academy on the red. It's a fresh game, fresh opportunity for the Golden Guardians to show us something new.
Lulu is better when you have a single target that you must protect at all costs, that you want to buff up. Karma is better when you want consistent skirmishing that requires less of an interest in keeping a specific member alive and more in just making sure that everybody gets to get in and get their spells off. And so when you have a Kog'Maw or a Jinx or these kinds of protect comps, then that's when you really want the Lulu. Or how we've seen with the Kindred, a target that you really want to keep alive. With the Xin, you just need to make sure that when he goes in, he stays in.
And that's exactly what they were able to do with that comp. So right now, let's catch up on the rest of the bans for game number 2 here. Lucian and Lee Sin are the bans from Golden Guardians Academy. So 2 very strong flex picks. Can be played in solo lanes and elsewhere. and the Gwen ban from 100 Thieves Academy. Now, if I'm 100 Thieves right here, I feel like you still want to ban things like the Rumble, things like the Udyr, these bread and butter champions that Rosethorn has been playing a lot of right now, but no, they actually opt for the Thresh instead.
Deadly pick, especially if you want to be playing enchanters, right? They still might be interested in flexing that to the bot lane if they get their hands on an enchanter once again. So the Thresh can be such a nuisance for them to deal with that. So just getting rid of it, and it's one of Nubis' best picks anyways, who is always a clutch factor. That's the one thing that Thresh has over every other support. You can just make plays happen so often, and if the player that has his hands on this pick is having a great game, it feels unstoppable. So getting rid of it just ensures that Golden Guardians won't have Newbie to be so clutch, and they won't really have to, because they took our strat, they took our advice, and we'll just take the karma for themselves.
Karma locked in immediately. I was looking at other things on the table like that Rumble, but I like this karma a lot more. It's a denial away from 100 Thieves Academy, and also it can counter the Rumble if 100 Thieves decide to lock that in. But no, the Thieves say, well, we're going to do that same Lulu counter pick, but this time we get the Xin Zhao.
How does Kenvi feel at this point? He's just on Xin Zhao duty this whole time. He's just
it's fun duty to be on, Crumbs. Right. I wouldn't pity this man.
Is it fun? I mean, come on. At the start of the year, we're like, oh yeah, Udyr duty, thank you. Please give me this pick. Now the junglers are begging for mercy to be put out of their misery for playing the champion. So it's always a matter of how often you put the reps in. True. But we'll see if there's another combination here, because maybe they take the Volibear.
Kills people, right? It doesn't just bear slap you and stun you. It actually, you know, he is kind of the primary focus. So
okay, yeah.
Based on what we saw in that game 1, at least.
Udyr, if he gets fed, it's usually the enemy made a lot of mistakes to give you all the kills. But Golden Guardians, will they go Volibear again? Taking it into, yep.
Yeah, that's something they're comfortable with. They played that again yesterday against Evil Geniuses Academy with the Karma, and that was their only win so far in the summer. So this is kind of a run back for them, but still the Karma Ezreal I think is a much better combo than the Lulu Ezreal. So I'm liking the draft from Golden Guardians. I think this is a really good adaptation so far.
Yeah, but they are going to give Prismal the same AD carry that they did in the first matchup that was so difficult to deal with. And if they can just counter the support as well and show their hand early that the Lulu is going to the mid lane, then all of a sudden you have the same avenue for Luger to get ahead. And even though you might have that combination that won the game for you before, you need to be transferring that advantage to the bottom lane, or else Luger can take over the show.
That's what he did in game number 1. 60 CS up before the turrets were down. A little insane there. And they still have a lot of options for these supports. I think Golden Guardians now need to seriously be thinking about that Taric ban too, based on what we saw in that game number 1, because whether it's the Karma or the Lulu, I think that the Xin Zhao can still play relatively the same with either of those. And no, so far they still ban away the Nautilus. Last time they did, I believe Nautilus plus Alistair were the two that they banned away to prevent a lot of the tank engages. We'll see if they go forward with that. 100 Thieves, though, taking away some more defensive supports like the Braum.
Yeah, these are the picks that make Ezreal just so brutally difficult to reach, because his Mystic Shot is now being guarded by a giant shield on top of the Karma speed. It's just something that they don't want to deal with. At the very least, though, 100 Thieves is going to respect Niles' gangplank from last game and saying, all right, this was a bit of a problem. We did lose the early 2v2. That's one area we'd like to shore up. But with so many support bans already coming out, maybe they feel like they're better off giving Tenacity the last pick and just snatching away Poom's pick right now, and they will do just that. They'll lock in the Taric.
They lock in the Taric, but I'm going to make some predictive pick and ban analysis here, Crumbs, because I'm not convinced that Karma is going mid. I think there's a good chance it still does, but I think that the Ezreal Karma can actually poke out a Taric pretty effectively in lane. Taric he recently had a buff to his Q, so his mana costs less, or his Q costs less mana now. He can stay a little more sustained throughout lane, but against that level of poke could be difficult. We'll see if Golden Guardians opt for that, for the actual Karma support, or if they still want to put it mid lane, because if they put that support, that opens up the counter pick for the Lulu, and that's another reason why I like this idea, because now you can say, wherever that Lulu's going, we're going to put something aggressive into it. But either way, we see the Renekton, and there we go, the Rise locked in, so it is Karma support, double range poke into Taric.
Okay, I like this. I like this a lot. The Rise is the AP answer that they have decided will deal with Kenvi Sinzao. He tries to dash in, you lock him down, you burst him through it, you shred him. So there is a world now for them to maybe kill the Xin if he doesn't get too far ahead. Again, though, the eyes fall to the bottom lane because now Golden Guardians has geared up to deal with this even more. And oh boy, Kangas, we're getting Tenacity's Irelia again. Last time he played it, we got a 5-man Irelia ultimate that I think even you were casting.
I was casting that one. That was insane, man. That was that was a really fun game. Now, last time around, they did put Tenacity on the Irelia. Ryoma, I believe that might have been a Lulu composition as well, if I remember correctly. And then they lane swapped them. Let's see if they do that this time around, though, because so far, Ryoma is still holding that Irelia and Tenacity's on the Lulu. I think either way, they want the Irelia into the Rise and the Lulu into the Renekton. So it's just a matter of who's going to pilot which champion. Past the 20-second mark, so presumably these are locked in here. Either way, this is fantastic answers from 100 Thieves Academy.
That would actually be really interesting to see. I don't think I've ever seen Ryoma's Irelia before, so he will be
definitely
playing
never seen Tenacity's Lulu, so it's just going to be new.
Yeah, okay. I mean, Ryoma's been on Karma duty this whole time, so if he can bust this one out, that would be really fun, because I thought the lane swap was going to come out as well, since Irelia versus Renekton, not ideal. Really not an ideal situation, but when you're going to have the Lulu shields, the speeds, the ultimate, and then the Taric on top of you, you now have a diving buddy to the Sinzao. So this could be a really exciting comp from 100 Thieves that seems to continue to be in the same protect the bruiser style that they've used before.
Exactly, and the difficult thing is Golden Guardians have kind of drafted themselves almost a 1-3-1 comp, right? Like the Renekton and Rise want to be in side lanes providing pressure, but it's so difficult to do that against the Xin Zhao that will just constantly be trying to run you down like we saw in that game number 1. But maybe they still have enough grouping options and they can pull it off. We'll have to wait and see here, Crumbs, as we are loaded on to the red for game number 2 of your week 2, day 2 broadcast of LCS Academy. Golden Guardians on the blue side, 100 Thieves on the red. The Golden Guardians really struggling at the beginning of the summer split, hoping to pick up another win here, fighting for a chance to still make a top cut in Academy so they don't have to play through the qualifiers to get into Proving Grounds and can just auto-qualify based on a top 6 finish in Academy. But 100 Thieves Academy are one of the harder teams to get a victory against, so you can't really discredit them if it doesn't work out. But let's refocus now onto the Rifts right now. Crumbs, 100 Thieves setting up on this blue buff for Kenvi. He'll be pathing towards the top side, which means Niles will have to be a little careful.
Yeah, he will be. Even though the Lulu doesn't seem like a killer, in a 1v1, her harass and long-range spells can be really detrimental for any melee champion. So there is an opportunity for action to happen in the top side. Good dodge there out of Newbie, and this early bot lane will be really important for Golden Guardians. They need to assert their dominance, start landing the poke. They're doing a good job doing it, and if they can just start zoning off the 100 Thieves, they can now dominate this lane and immediately forego the disadvantage that they were in the last game. The more Qs to land, the better. This
is why I liked the swap here, putting Karma in the bot lane, because I play a lot of Taric. I'm a support main myself, and no, I do not play at the same elo as the players that you're seeing on your screen. The idea is still the same either way. Taric does not deal well against enchanters. He can shield, he can heal, but not to the same extent that most enchanters can, and definitely cannot deal with their range throughout an extended laning phase. So the poke of an Ezreal, the poke of a Karma will really be difficult for Luger and Poom to deal with, and that was the primary strength of 100 Thieves last time around. Golden Guardians got early kills, but 100 Thieves stayed in the gold lead because of how far ahead Luger was in the 2v2 matchup. And I don't think we're going to see that same thing happen this time.
It's exactly that range threat that you speak of, because as long as they stay in the max range of their own spells on the side of Golden Guardians, Poom cannot even threaten and engage. The Taric Dazzle just won't reach them. So if they're ever looking to actually gank them, he'll have to go for a Flash Dazzle, and that they can read. They can keep their distance further away from him, even flash out of it. But here comes
this is dangerous topside. Niles is pushed up very far, but I think he's realizing, okay, now's the timer that Kenvi is going to be around here. He was trading very aggressive that whole time, but Rosehorn's on the bottom side. They're teleporting in for the dive on the Luger and Poom. Golden Guardians getting aggressive early on. First blood picked up. That's another one over. 2 kills to the Guardians.
Really nice play from Golden Guardians, knowing where they had an advantage, and especially after Niles recognizes that, hey, I might be getting ganked right now. Look at how Tenacity's playing. Can be started bot side. I need to back off. They know that Sin is up there. They know that Irelia doesn't have the opportunity to answer the wave with the teleport, and so they just pull off a really nice dive that gets some gold over to Ezreal and Rosethorn, who once again start the game off with the Sheens.
Really well played by Golden Guardians. Super happy to see that proactivity that I was highlighting in Pick and Ban. Make things happen early. If you're this team, if you're these 5 players, that's where I see their strength lying, and they do pull it off there. Now, Ryoma, Yunbi, and Glenn Rose here as well. Let's catch up on where the gold went, because I think that's important to track here. Rose Thor had burned Flash for that, but picked up a kill, so now has a Sheen advantage over Kenvi. And also the kill went over to Prismal on the bot side. Burned some of their spells, but still, Sheen picked up. So these are big spikes for Golden Guardians, but now mid lane. Ryoma goes in onto Yunbi, but Rose Thor was still hanging around there. He was still in the mid lane, shadowing and earning himself another kill. Ryoma goes too aggressive, and Golden Guardians capitalize.
I love the way Yunbi actually baited that play from happening, because he walks to the brush after Rosethorn shows himself and pretends to place a ward, so that he's thinking, oh, I'm gonna just continue to play to this side because I know I have vision. And so Ryoma's thinking, Volibear must not be there, otherwise why would he have warded? But it was a bait the whole time. Ryoma falls for it, engages by dashing in after he hits the stun, and then Volibear comes out from the woodwork, stuns him, and now they get another kill for Rosethorn. He started both games with a 2-0 start.
Both the games. Last time it didn't work out as well for them, but now, like we highlighted before, there's no lane that's waiting for 100 Thieves. Look at the bot side. That's a 10 CS advantage to Prismal, in part because of that dive that they pulled off. Niles doing just fine in this top lane versus the Lulu Enchanter. He has not gotten ganked, has not died yet. And even though he's taking a lot of this damage, right, he's still getting aggressive up in Tenacity's face and should be just fine. But, ooh, as I said, he's taking a huge chunk of damage here. Will need to be careful as this wave should push into Tenacity's turret.
100 Thieves hoping that newbie face checks here. Prismal doesn't have flash though, but as long as Golden Guardians just knows that the junglers is missing, they don't have to overextend for it.
Kenby hit that
is in trouble.
Follow-up dazzle from Tara. Kenby's locking down Rosethorn. They got the bear. 100 Thieves find a pick. Really well set up. The Poom Kenby combo coming in 2 games in a row. They are very well practiced on this. Yeah,
they run this river. They thought that they were looking for Newbie and Prismal, so everybody else would save Newbie.
Ooh, Poom goes for the dazzle flash the last second. Really well timed by Newbie to flash away from that one. It is kind of hard to get that. You have to flash preemptively, and he does succeed. So 100 Thieves, though, asserting dominance around this dragon. They don't have control over the bot wave, but they still can go for a gank. Prismal's really far up here. There is exhaust in on Newbie. He used it on Kenby. Teleport coming in from Golden Guardians. They might be able to turn this play as Kenby's very far forward. He's got Poom behind. They turn attention on the Prismal, and Ezreal's out of the fight, but Niles with a flank just flashes in. Picks up one. Now onto Luger, but Tenacity's keeping him alive. Turn attention on the Poom. The double kill to Niles. The Crocodiles getting fed, and Golden Guardians want more. Luger dies. 3 to the Guardians.
100 Thieves was just not satisfied with taking the kill on Rosethorn. They're still biding their time. Oh,
they're gonna get more.
Lulu.
He got Tenacity. He walked in range of the Karma binding. This is a different look for Golden Guardians this time around, Crumbs. They are decimating 100 Thieves in this early game.
The Karma difference. The Karma is finally just in the heads of 100 Thieves, because they might be thinking this is the best strategy of all time. This is getting us the wins, but then when they have it, now you're thinking, wait a minute, do they now have the strength? They've got the secret that we've been using to get these dubs, and that might just make you overlook how often you have to gank the bottom lane, and that's a force that they ended up paying big time with the TP from Niles.
Ryoma throws out the ult. He wants to go for the all-in. But multiple members of Golden Guardians were there. Ryoma just cannot catch a break. Every time he wants to play, Golden Guardians have the answer.
They've been reading how he's playing the lane like a book, and now Rosethorn is level 6 though. Prismal can combo with an ultimate here.
They want to go for the steal, and it's stolen! Prismal with the true shot barrage! That was interestingly timed right there. We'll have to get a replay because Kenby did not smite. And maybe that was Rosethorn timing that with Prismal to actually steal that one away.
This feels like a game that is going to just be testing 100 Thieves' mental. If they can bounce back from this, they would really have solidified the end of the second week as the top dog team. Because right now, it feels like Golden Guardians, by taking the Karma, might be undoing some of their previous victories. By looking so good doing this, it feels like 100 Thieves might just have their strategies being leaked to the rest of the league.
Golden Guardians look reinvigorated right now, Crumbs. Here's another look at that dive. It starts off all right for the Thieves, right? They're getting in onto Prismal. They take down the 80 carry, but Rosethorn, the teleport from Niles, turn the play.
Really good TP there. Tenacity even tried to join there, but he's a bit too late. I don't think if he made it earlier, he would have actually been able to save these members. They were just so overextended to go for that one with such a deep of a teleport. And then Tenacity just oversteps. That's it. Plain and simple. Even has the flash that potentially gotten away from that. Just didn't think he'd be tethered.
Needs one more, though. They engage onto the bottom side here. Luger throwing in Poom. They're onto Newbie. The Karma, difficulty getting away, but is into the alcove. Luger just flashes. Says, I am committing everything for this kill. I need this one. Poom hits a dazzle on the Prismal, but there's no follow-up from Luger, so the Thieves do get an answer on the bottom side. It's traded for the Rift Herald.
Good commitment out of them, and now Prismal has to be afraid that they could potentially try to dive him. So,
Ryoma, stop doing this. Ryoma, when will you learn that you can't make this play? Okay, he doesn't overcommit for it that time. He still has the ultimate, he still has the flash, and Kenby was there for backup, but Ryoma's got to be careful right now because Golden Guardians are reading every single aggressive play that he's making.
And they have friends to help him out, and now Prismal has his own support. A Poom.
He just ignites under turret. He's going to trade his life. I don't even think he gets Prismal. Yeah, that was interesting play from Poom. It's kind of the way we put that one. Not sure what his escape plan was there.
The escape plan is you kill the Ezreal and then you're happy to trade the life, saying, all right, you need this golden experience more than I do, but it just backfires so massively. Luger is in trouble too. He's rooted.
Oh! No! Snipes with the Q! Prismal not expecting that damage. This might be a Q max Luger early on here, but now plays on the top side. 100 jumping in onto Niles. They do take down the Croc, but now Kenby has to deal with two more challengers. Yunbi and Rosethorn are here, and Tenacity cannot keep Kenby safe. But now Ryoma with the flank finally hits the ultimate. He says, this is my time. I've been waiting. You've been camping, but I pick up a kill for myself now.
I'm loving this game. 100 Thieves is fighting back. They really are not interested in losing to the Golden Guardians here. They are still in this. They are looking for blood, and multiple members are stepping up and trying to actively outplay the Golden Guardians teams. I loved how Luger got that kill onto Prismal. He thought he'd be able to safely line up his arcane shot. His Essence Lux not even close, just gets speared through the heart, while the rest of the team is ready to defend their top laner with Tenacity, with Kenby, with Ryoma roaming up.
And the fact that Luger got that kill bot side, I think, is really rough for Golden Guardians now, because we mentioned in the early game, it's a different look from game number 1 because Luger didn't have a lead. Well, now he's 3-2. He's got about 15 CS up over Prismal, and is doing just fine. As I say that, he does take a huge chunk, but with that shield bow will heal up. And now 100 Thieves find the play here onto Rosethorn. He will have the backup of Newbie. So a couple shields coming in from the Karma. Targolt comes down. That's a teleport out of Golden Guardians. They're flashing out. They want to disengage, but now 100 Thieves might have gone a little too far forward as Yunbi's getting some damage down. But look at the engage there, the trades. Luger's all alone. Ryoma can be behind him. He's chasing out Prismal. He does get the double kill. Now Yunbi on the rise finds himself alone, and 100 Thieves, you said it yourself, Crumbs, they are not interested in losing a game of League of Legends today. They are crawling back from this one.
And really, 100 Thieves, so much of their comp still revolves around Kenby. Yeah, they don't have the Karma, the Lulu to even help out. She was up there in the top side, but they still have the Taric. They still have ways to play around the Xin, buff him up, and they have no qualms with just hopping over the wall and taking any and all challengers. Here's Rosethorn. They don't really know where he's at. They just see him and the rest of the squad. They go into him. It doesn't matter because you have Ryoma collapsing with the Aurelia, and you've got Luger coming in from the bot side. Ryze tries to make it, tries to help out, but then they overextend. They get knocked up. They try to protect the teleport from Yunbi, and that just costs them everything.
And Yumby tries to walk back in here, right? But 100 Thieves stay together. They stay grouped. All 3 members of Golden Guardians were split in different areas. 100 Thieves, though they were low on health, because they grouped up, they were able to just push through, and now they want more. Kenby finding Yunby here on the bottom side of the map. Not quite laying out W, okay. Yunby tries to get out with a flash from Kenby. Interrupts the ultimate teleport. Now Kenby going back in here onto Rosethorn. Rosethorn's on the front line, but Ryoma's there. The rest of the 100 Thieves are there. Niles trying to do what he can. Does get one traded back, but he'll sacrifice his life for it. 100 Thieves are winning back-to-back-to-back plays.
Kenby just soloed out Yunby. That's the jungler finding the mid laner and just gunning him down. It wasn't close. He face check, got obliterated, and then the fight gets to start. With no Rise being there, they're gonna win that fight every single time, and the gold lead is starting to build for them. They're CSing better in every lane except the top lane. But that's the lane that doesn't matter. You've got a Lulu. Her job is done just by buying 2 items.
100 Thieves, it took them longer to get their composition online this time around, but kind of feels like they're right back to where they were last game, Crumbs. They have control over the Rift because of big gold leads. Let's take a look lane by lane. Yeah, Niles massively ahead of Tenacity, but that's a support up there. Then you look at all the solo lanes, mid lane, bot lane in particular. And 100 Thieves, they got gold on their carries, and they're ready to fight, man. Luger, you cannot shut this guy down. An abysmal start to the laning phase because of the poke, but still 6-2-2 in the back half here. Let's take another look at that replay of how Yunby gets caught.
It gets face checked. It's a level down on the Xin, by the way, but has the final auto of the 3-point strike to knock him up out of the ultimate. Doesn't even need to use his own. And then they can just continue to fight. Prismal, with a cheeky shift in, does have the karma to protect him, but the rest of the team does go down for everyone's sins.
Golden Guardians on the back foot yet again, Crumbs. They're scratching their heads thinking, how did they let that early game get away from them? But now, let's think into the future. Let's think into how 100 Thieves can continue this pressure. And actually, Golden Guardians making the play themselves. They see Boom, they see Luger, it's just a 2v2. Luger does have that ultimate though, so Fate's Call gets Boom out to safety. I actually really like that. They didn't even burn the Tara gold. They wasted a lot of Golden Guardians' time.
Yes, and some good damage onto Puma. It's going to take a while for the Taric to heal back to full and be able to participate in the front lines with his Dazzle. So that can be pretty useful for Golden Guardians to slow down 100 Thieves from just continuing to be relentless at the river and even invading. In fact, it's going to get the base out of Boom. That just tells you that the rest of the squad is interested in resetting, as Rift Herald still available as an objective in the top side. 100 Thieves can choose to take that fight if they want 10 Golden Guardians into a 5v5.
We've seen a lot of resets come through from both sides, actually, all staggered. So not timed together. Boom backs, and then 3 members from Golden Guardians back at the same time. That means they have no pressure on the map. That means 100 Thieves can get the Rift Herald. They can push mid. 100 Thieves are getting a massive tempo lead right here just because of the back timers from Golden Guardians. So hopefully Golden Guardians can make those item purchases worth it now. They just lost a lot for that.
Oh, Yunby's in trouble. Yunby is in trouble. He's hiding in the brush though, playing hide and seek with the Rome Goom squad of 100 Thieves. So that will actually work this time around, but they know that they need to improve the vision game. You just can't allow the Sinzao to catch you by surprise. He can solo your solo lanes right now as the jungle pick without any help. Vision is a top priority.
Can they get the vision down to contest 100 Thieves in their own jungle? The Golden Guardians are on the back foot here. They do have their top laner and jungler grouping up around this top side of the map. There's really nothing to take right now, no objectives to fight over, so if Golden Guardians do go for something, it would just be for a turret most likely. They do almost have this mid-turret cracked, but this is at the point where 100 Thieves, their composition just groups up, right? They just say, all right, we're just going to put the supports on Kenby, and he can walk wherever Golden Guardians are trying to make a play happen. And the Guardians should not have an answer for that, which means that Golden Guardians need to play something else. They need to play for these side lanes, right? Play around Niles, play around Yunby. Danger being that you can get collapsed on. So the danger's game to play, but it feels like their only option.
And it's gonna get even more difficult for them to play those side lanes. Once you lose that mid lane turret, they're gonna be further down, making it harder to assist any of the sides that get collapsed on. Vision will be deeper into their own jungle, and with 50 seconds on this dragon, it doesn't look like they're in a position to contest. Feels like they're gonna be giving it up 200 Thieves, and instead, they're looking to make a play in the top side, trying to trade. If Ryoma gets the base off, or if he just runs out, then there will be nothing for Golden Guardians to take. Maybe they'll just get the turret, and it's low enough for Ryoma to really think twice about staying around.
Look at the vision toggle right here for 100 Thieves' perspective. Ryoma's playing safe, realizing I have no information on where they are, but I know where they're not. I know they're not mid, they're not bot side, because we have that entire jungle lit up, which means that they have to be top half of the map. I'll give up this turret. That's the first turret taken by Golden Guardians. If you're 100 Thieves, you're just fine giving that over, right? Because this is a sacrifice of that dragon priority. It's up in a couple seconds here, so 100 Thieves should have that for free. When the dive comes in for Ryoma, they really want to lock down this Aurelia. They shut down the turret. Ryoma goes in, tries to get onto Newbie, exhaust immediately, and just stun for days. Golden Guardians pick up a kill.
There are 3 point-and-click stuns on that squad from Golden Guardians. Even with the flash, there was nothing Ryoma could do to avoid that. If he just tried to outplay it and got close to any of them, they'd lock him down.
Luger, that was kind of nutty right there. Gonna be flashed forward. Luger flashing in response, but now Rosethorn on the flank. He will get Cosmic Radiance out of Taric. Now the turn onto Rosethorn. 100 Thieves get another kill. Luger is dominating on this pick. Can be now the front line. Trying to buy some space, buy some time for Luger to get out of there because Kalista is quite low. 100 Thieves get away with another heist in the mid lane. More gold onto their carry.
And this extra gold onto the carry of Luger is gonna be paying dividends. He's so darn fed. 2,500 gold up, 700 bounty out of all champions. He's gonna have the Taric ultimate every single time, so he can just continue to dash at you with the speed of the Lulu and be so difficult to kill. Xin was the focus of game 1, but this time around, the advantages and the way that Luger's been playing this series is just too much to ignore. They can now count on him, and there's not much that Golden Guardians can do about it. He's feeling strong enough to try to dive the Ezreal by himself, so that just shows you that he does not care about anybody on this team. If he sees you, he's going to try and kill you.
That's a whole nother tier of confidence right there when you're an AD carry that's willing to do that. The shining light for Golden Guardians is, of course, Niles in the top lane, still with a mountainous gold lead over the Lulu top, which is understandable given the matchup. But the problem is you're Renekton playing against a Lulu Taric. What are you supposed to do against that? Golden Guardians getting invaded in on their blue buff. 100 Thieves say, this is our map. This is our side of the jungle now. And Kenby's buying so much. Golden Guardians can't even hurt Kenby. He is unkillable, untouchable. Luger's frontlining Kalista. Are you kidding me? 100 Thieves just run through the Golden Guardians jungle, plant their flag, say, this is our territory. This is our Baron.
100 Thieves comp is just so bonkers in the 5v5. The goal relatively close, but if they can catch a few members right away, there's just not enough to mow down through the rest of the team. There's only a little bit of burst. There's no quick DPS from Prismal to actually take down the Sinzao when he goes in with the Taric. And all that is happening while Luger, the most fed member, is just crippling you from the side. So it starts by going onto the Volibear. A good stun, but it's a 2v5 at the start of the fight. That's how strong this Xin is with the Lulu ultimate and then his own. By the time Luger arrives, he can just continue to overchase, and if he had Fate's Call, maybe they would have gone deeper to combo onto the Taric, because that fight happened and they still had the Taric ultimate. It could have been even more one-sided.
Target selection was what I want to highlight from that, because Golden Guardians were not on the same page. Luger was so far away from any of his supports, and Yunbi's trying to hit Kenvi, who's behind Luger. The positioning was very confusing from my perspective, at least. We'll have to see what Golden Guardians' answer is, because it doesn't look like they got much in the tank left. 100 Thieves are putting the final ribbon on this one. They're going for the dive now between turrets. Yunbi's already dead. Niles the next focus, and the Thieves win another fight, losing no members. They did use Targold that time, Don't even think they needed it. Now Fate's Call throws Boom forward. They don't actually lock down Prismal. Dazzle does hit him, and now they're over the wall. Prismal's gonna get taken out too. Luger goes legendary. 100 Thieves with this final push will probably look to end the game. They got the minion wave. They got Baron buff. And the death timers, I think, are too long from Golden Guardians. So 100 Thieves, do they try and close out right here?
I think they should. They're so fed, and they're confident in the way that they can end this game. They're still Irelia ultimate, so they can go for more.
They're trying. Nubian Rose Thorin attempting to buy time. Yundi's going to be up in 4 seconds. Niles as well. 100 Thieves, though, they're committed. They have all 5 members right here. The Nexus turrets will fall, so they can just go for the fight now. 5v4 before Prismal's up, and they're going to win this fight easy on the Nexus. 100 Thieves with a quick 2-0 statement performance against Golden Guardians. Say, challenge us, Cloud9. Challenge us, Team Liquid. Challenges anybody in Academy. We are currently reigning at the #1 spot.
This team is just getting better with each game, and so much of it is around that same style. I fear not the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks one time, but the one who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. That's 100 Thieves right now with the Protect These Bruiser compositions. They're just getting better at it. It's really scary. You can take away the Karma. Clearly the Xin is also viable with the Lulu, with Tarek, but even without that, the lanes are holding up their own and getting work done.
Kenvi Xin Zhao is a menace. This was Golden Guardians with a 4,000 gold lead in the early stages. They still got a double kill onto Rose Thorin. They were winning the bot lane matchup this time around, starting off with this beautiful dive. It looked like Golden Guardians had full control, but it's just so hard to keep it against 100 Thieves.
It doesn't get any better of a start than that for your Karma Ezreal lane, and then the teleport to get even more for them. Yes, the Ezreal dies, but you end up trading a 1 for 4. It was a huge advantage for Golden Guardians, but 100 Thieves were relentless in their onslaught in trying to find picks. They were curious the whole time, looking for more avenues to get picks. Here, Tenacity overextends. Hey, you forgot another kill. I TP down here. I also want to go back to the base. Thank you very much. But then this is where it went really good for 100 Thieves. Yes, they lose a member. They kill Niles. Kenvi does go down, but Irelia is on the way. They started countering Golden Guardians' plays, and it really worked.
This was the moment where the tempo swung back in their favor, right? And here's towards the game end. This was that blue buff invade. Golden Guardians have 5 members here. And watch the target selection. Watch what Luger's able to do, because 100 Thieves, everyone else is just buying so much attention.
He's 1v3ing, right? He's 1v3ing, and they're all running away from him. He still had the Tarek ultimate, so he could have kept going if there were the comms wanted him to do it, but the Baron was still the main objective. And now with it, there's just no turret that deters them from diving. You've got the Tarek ultimate. You've got the Fate's Call. It's so easy to keep going. Prismal's damage barely sticks, and it's immediately threatened and actually gets followed up. The range of Kenvi to engage. You thought Ezreal was a highly mobile carry. It seems like Xin is more mobile now.
Kind of feels like it, right? When his spear is able to match the range plus some of Ezreal. But Crumbs, we do actually have an interview here. The Verizon post-game segment will have Luger on. So once he's ready to hop in the call with us, we'll get him in here. I'm excited to talk with the bot laner because that was a big comeback, right? From that early performance. The game 1 dominated. The game 2 was a little bit behind, but still doesn't matter. Luger is showing again he's one of the strongest AD carries in Academy, if not the best.
Yeah, his performances, even in the laning phase, are something that you want to be looking at. And then out of it, the team fighting, when you get support, looks even better. He might be feeling like, hey, you have all these supports. Why don't they go for me? You're all helping out Kenvi. I thought the meta used to be protect the carry. I have carry in my name, AD carry, guys. Why are we not playing around me? I'm doing so much. But even without that help, he's still finding avenues to get advantages on his own.
Exactly. I mean, he's an impressive performer to follow because he's been relatively new to the scene, right? He didn't get to start with the squad at the beginning of spring. He actually came in a little bit late because of visa issues, but once he showed up, 100 Thieves, were kind of like a middle of the pack to the lower end of the standings, and then they went undefeated with him on the roster and ended in the top 4. I believe they were 3rd place in the spring standings, if I remember correctly. But regardless, they looked reinvigorated with him on the roster, and now it's showing that with that little extra time, we went through proving grounds in the spring. We had a little bit of an off season, and now with this time to gel, Luger is really coming into his own with the team. It's no longer just the Luger win condition for 100 Thieves like it looked in the spring. It's now everyone plays around each other, and then Luger just bodies by himself, right? like you said, they don't need to play through Luger for him to find his own leads.
That's what's really scary, because you can, right? You actually could if they really wanted to. There's plenty of teams that like to play these hyper carry marksmen, whether it's the Kog'Maw or Jinx, and just play your entire strategy around getting them gold, keeping them alive, and winning the game. They will always have that in the back pocket. Their ability to just experiment at the start of the split as a team and then have varying strategies will only make this team stronger when it comes to playoffs, when it comes to best of series, that you're just not going to be able to ban them out, because if one player is getting targeted or is having an off day, somebody else can come in, step up to the plate, pick up what was put down, and still take it over the finish line.
If that Xinjiao's banned, right? Maybe Xinjiao and Karma are going to be banned against 100 Thieves going forward, which means that the Thieves will have to default back to older styles of compositions and what has worked for them. But they have that depth, right? They have a lot of different styles that they can perform and that they've shown us they're comfortable performing. And that's one of the most exciting things here. I think that Luger is one of those players that we will, like, if you're watching these games, you should expect to see him in the LCS within the next year or two, right? Like, I don't see him as a player that we stick in Academy for too long, because he's showing that he's ready. He's ready to move up and show the NA AD carry is what it's like to actually play in the bot lane and carry it through the role.
You can hear me, yeah?
I'm hearing from production that we're just having a slight delay before we get him in here. So, Crumb's thoughts on Academy so far as we're waiting for Luger to join us. What would have been the highlights of the year and the summer split? Is a new best of 2 format kind of exciting? So, what's that been like for you?
You read my mind. It's the best of 2 format. That's, I think, the most exciting thing for me about it, because so many times you see the best of one and then the team gets obliterated, right? It's not close. And then you're like, I guess they didn't practice very well this split. Something must be going on. And so the expectations of the team get warped. Versus when you have 2 games, they can actually put up a fight, and suddenly you start to think, okay, there may be a little bit of a slow, because not every team is going to be able to come out and win from the very get-go. They need the warm-up. They need to understand their opponent. So seeing the experimentation with the format, giving so many more games, that was the biggest criticism from the first split in Academy here. I think it's going to just help everybody out. The Academy players will love playing more games, just putting in the reps, and pretty soon it won't just be Luger. We'll see many more players making it from Academy into the LCS through their own merit, not because the LCS teams are having some drama.
4 times as many games in the summer split, Crumbs. That's a lot more practice. And I think, we wouldn't have seen Golden Guardians have kind of like a semblance of a comeback in Game 2 that we saw, where they looked a lot better. They cleaned things up. I'm getting word, though, that unfortunately we will not be able to have the interview come through. So if you want to chat with Luger, go follow him on Twitter. His social media is up there, so make sure you find him. Shoot him a DM if you got any questions. Maybe I'll try and reach out and do some social media posts with him later on. But we're going to send it over to a short break before we're back with our next match of the day. Team Liquid Academy taking on Evil Geniuses Academy. Team Liquid, another one of those teams that could finish the week tied for first place. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere.